Hi, welcome to another episode of Homeownership Heroes. I'm your host, Brian Burjans, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Maria Reed. Maria, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
So, Maria, in case you didn't know, is the 2019 Armed Forces Insurance Army Spouse of the Year.
Go Army.
Go Navy, beat Army.
Go Army, beat Navy.
So, Maria, you've been a military spouse for 17 years, is that correct?
17 years.
Okay, so this show is Homeownership Heroes, and it's about homeownership. So if you wouldn't mind telling our viewers kind of your experience as a military spouse, 17 years, relocating and homeownership.
Awesome, thank you. Well, when I met my husband, he had already been in the service, and then he got out. So he took a short break in service, and we owned a home in Florida. When he got back into the service, it wasn't on our radar. I couldn't imagine owning a home and being a service member. So we lived on the military installation, or we rented until we got to Fort Hood. And we realized that that was a right fit. And there was a lot of information that I didn't know, things that I had to research and find out and learn about homeownership and a VA loan, because it's a little bit different when you're a military family, but I wasn't afraid to do it. I knew that this would be a great fit for us. It would be the right home for our family, for the school district that we wanted our kids to go to. So we bought a home this year near the Fort Hood area.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So from your perspective, what would you say would be your advice to a military family who's never bought a home before, but was in kind of the same scenario looking to buy?
I would say get educated. Learn about the VA loans. To me, reach out to Caliber to find out what are the things that you need to know about what your down payments are, what your VA benefits are. I didn't know. I always thought you can only use it once. And that was it. That was your one and done. Yeah. And then I learned that that is not true at all. So it's knowing, being educated, knowing the information so that you are an educated consumer. You're an educated buyer. So learn and then go out and see what fits for your family.
So when you were relocating to Fort Hood, how did you find your realtor?
We reached out to other military spouses and other military families to find information, like who did you use, other people. So we used kind of our network of military families to find out. I didn't want to just like Google, because I think when you find a realtor, it's a relationship.
Oh yeah.
You really want someone who understands you. So that's why we went and spoke with friends to find out who they used, and we went from there.
So how'd you find your lender? Same way?
The same way, through the friends.
Okay, so one thing we always try to tell people is, in the military demographic, it's not so much brand loyal as it is people loyal.
Yes.
So, leveraging spheres of influence when you're moving into a market, we try to tell people, they always say, well, how do we get into that demographic? I want to better serve the military. I want to help the military. And we try to explain to them, you have to get into the demographic. Teaching on base is not going to help military families buy homes at that base. You got to get them before they're coming in. You got to educate them before they come in.
That's right.
So obviously, this home loan transaction you just completed, would you say was there any frustrations, any challenges, anything that you would say, hey, if I could do it over again, I would have done this?
I will say ours went very smoothly. Because we had spoken with friends and we kind of went in, they knew what our needs were. It was kind of a very straightforward loan. Things that I would do differently, maybe search more areas, really research the areas myself. It's great to take opinions from friends, but you always need to know it yourself. Maybe a little more just driving and figuring that out. But sometimes when you're coming into an area as a military family, you don't have that luxury.
Right.
And you kind of have to go, okay, this is where we want, this is what the school district is. Let's just do it. But maybe just a little more research and knowing the areas.
So when you said your transaction went really smooth, I am going to assume that your realtor and your lender actually were well-versed in working with military.
Working with military, yeah. They were VA and really understood the military community and what military families need.
Because we see when you have that dynamic duo where both the realtor and the lender actually know how it works, and not just from the lending perspective, but like customers coming in, house hunting leave, you're by yourself or you're not by yourself. You got to make a decision fast.
Well, now that you said that, we bought the home when my husband was deployed. So there's a lot more paperwork involved. You have to have that power of attorney. It's a little bit different, but the company that we use, they always work with military. So they understood and knew, what was going to happen because of the deployment.
So it's interesting you said that you bought a house while your husband was deployed. So did the realtor and the lender somehow get your husband involved in the process, even though he wasn't there?
Yes. When we started the hunt for a home, he was here. And when we knew he was going to leave, the realtor and the lender said, you need to get all this paperwork done ahead of time so that you're ready for when he deploys. And then he deployed. And then about 4 months into the deployment, we purchased the home. But we had everything done ahead of time.
So, oh, that's awesome. So that was fantastic. So when he was gone, it was just closing the deal.
Closing the deal.
Perfect. Yeah, because we hear all kinds of horror stories about folks that are trying to buy while their, significant others deployed. And, when you have, lenders and realtors that don't know how to navigate through those waters, it's already a stressful process it is. But then you stress somebody out who's in a bad place and they're worrying about people at home.
Yeah.
It's not good. So when you relocated to Fort Hood and you did your research and stuff, we always hear that there's a set of things that the military spouses look for in their new location. Like, what are the top 3?
Schools, crime rate, and if there's a job. What job could I try and find for myself in the area? That was the lacking factor.
Right.
There really wasn't work for me, but there was a great school in the area that we wanted to live. We knew that there would just be it was a good neighborhood, good place to live. I would feel safe. The kid would feel safe because we know it's going to deploy again, happen once, it's going to happen again. So we just felt like this is the area that we wanted to live at, but it was difficult finding a job. That was the hard one.
Well, this has been another great episode of Homeownership Heroes. I want to thank our special guest, Maria Reed, for joining us. Maria, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And my name's Brian Burjans, and we'll see you next time.